march for weeks. Again, we are so grateful to be able to host him here tonight. We're grateful that he is here with his family and able to share his story with us tonight. Badar will share his story with us through his conversation with Nadar Hashimi, who is a professor at Georgetown University, and we are honored to have him as well. He's a great friend of Busboys and Poets and has been very supportive of the work that Busboys has been doing to keep awareness and continue to raise awareness about the genocide of the Palestinian people. So I would like to welcome them both to the stage now. Please, just a few announcements first. An event like this requires community seating. So at Busboys, what that means is if there's an empty seat by you, we invite you to put your hand up when you see somebody searching for a seat so that they can join you. We invite you to share who you are and make a friend here because that's the kind of space we hope to be here. The way our program will proceed tonight is that both Badar as well as Nadir will be in conversation. He will be sharing his story and the discussion will be facilitated by Nadir. And so after that we'll have time for Q&A and we're going to ask people to line up right here. This is Talisha on our events team, and she's going to be holding the mic as people line up for questions and answers after their discussion. So I hope that's okay with everybody. Again, it's community seating. One of the cool things about Busboys and Poets is as we have events, you can eat and drink. So I'm going to ask you to please be mindful that there will be servers walking about during the presentation. Our servers are very skilled. They try not to inhibit the program in any way, but they're doing their jobs as well. So again, please join me in welcoming Dr. Badar Khan Suri as well as Nadir Hashimi. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for coming. My name is Badar Hashimi. I teach at Georgetown University. Welcome to our public conversation with Badar Khan Suri, our postdoctoral fellow at Georgetown University and a former U.S. political prisoner. On March the 17th, Badar Khan Suri was arrested outside of his home in Arlington, Virginia, and taken to the Prairieland ICE detention facility in Alvarado, Texas. His case is a parallel case to that of Mahmoud Khalil at Columbia, Rumeysa Ozturk at Tufts, Ali Daroudi in Alabama, and several other cases. On May the 14th, he was released from detention, and now he's back reunited with his family, but you should all know that the Trump administration is still pursuing an immigration case where they seek his deportation on the grounds that his presence here in the United States poses a grave and enduring and dire threat to the foreign policy of the United States of America. Tonight we're here to hear his story, to hear the details of his ordeal. Before I begin and ask him the first question, I just want to talk about the importance of Badar Khan Suri's case because they're connected in three overlapping ways. Number one, this is a case of someone whose civil rights and whose human rights have been grossly violated by the United States. Number two, his case is directly connected to the authoritarian transition that is underway in this country as we speak by the Trump administration. And the third reason is that, this is a case that's directly connected to the ongoing and escalating genocide in Gaza backed by the United States government. So for all those three reasons, Badar Khan Suri's case profoundly matters. It's a huge honor for me personally to have him here, to speak to an audience, to tell his story. And so I want to begin by thanking Badar for being with us tonight. And the first question that I have, Badar, is I want you to take us back to March the 17th. that fateful night when you were arrested. Tell us what happened to you in as much detail as you want to on that important day.
Thank you for having me, and good evening everyone. Really with you over the time, and it's always fear, so some part of me is with those fear, with that ordeal. So March the 17th, it was Monday. Monday used to be in those days very special to me. I used to teach my class on Mondays. It was my first course, first time as a teacher. I was teaching something very important on majoritarianism and minority rights. It was in South Asia, but it's the same thing everywhere. I hope I am audible. So it was a beautiful day. First, I like springs a lot because the way trees were changing the color, I would always see, because I'm here from more than...
When this thing is getting pink, now when it will get red, I was waiting for some on our Georgetown bus stop to turn purple, and I would think that I will bring my kids and put them at this spot, we'll have wonderful pictures with them, and then I thought that I will go for cherry blossom. Last time it was in Ramadan, and this time also it was in Ramadan, but Ramadan would be ending by, say, in those time, March 30th or 31st. And then I would have chance with my kids to go to cherry blossom. So it was a beautiful day, it was a beautiful class with my students and everything. Then I was fasting, it was Ramadan, so after my class, I was tired, I took some time, I sat there for half an hour all by myself. Later, some colleagues told me there were some suspicious people sitting outside of my class, and they waited for me for a very long time. And because they thought that I left because I didn't come out of my class for a good time, so they were not able to arrest me or kidnap me there. They would have done that there. So maybe they were following me or whatever. Then I was hungry, I was waiting for sunset so that I can break my fast. I quickly prayed, and then I went to my community place where everyone was there for breaking the fast. I sat with them, discussed tough times, and then had a great Turkish meal. Was missing my kids, everybody was asking where is my son, everyone is fond of him. And then I promised them next day I'll be bringing him. And then I left the place around 9. I took 9:10 shuttle, and then in those days, as a father of my kids, my only concern was what we are eating in our pre-dawn meal as sahur, and what will my kids have for their breakfast, for their school. With those thoughts, I was moving towards my apartment. Then everything changed. By 9:20 or 9:25, when I reached my apartment, I saw this something strange. An oldish black car was not driving in a perfect way. I stopped. It was as if it was trying to hit me. I stopped for some time. I said, man, what is this guy doing? And then again, I just moved. Those seconds were moving very slow at that moment. That was only 50 meters. And then all of a sudden, when I was about to turn towards my building gate, this car, which was driving dangerously till now, someone blocked me, opened the gate on me, and I saw a guy masked jumped out of this car, and then he said, "Are you Badar?" I was shocked. I mean, this guy who was driving so badly, how he knows my name? He was masked. He was not wearing any kind of uniform, no badges, nothing. He looked like a proper militia guy. How he knows my name? I was like petrified at that moment. All I could say was, yeah. He said, "You are under arrest." I mean, I said, what is he saying? How can he say what he's saying? Who is he and what? I was just stuck with what and why, what and why. Why he's saying so, what is he saying? All I could do at that time, after my what and why, he just said me just be there and be there. I was there, and then I realized that I should have a phone. Why not I try? Maybe he will not allow me, but why not I try to call my wife that, hey, this is happening. So I just called my wife. Thankfully, he didn't see or he allowed or whatever. I was able to talk to my wife that please come, some people are taking me. She was not able to understand what I was saying, but then I repeated, and thankfully she came. And when she came, he saw me surrounded by these masked agents and answering nothing. And then she also asked, who are you? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? And all they said that his student visa is revoked. I got a small hope. I said, maybe he's confused. I'm not a student. I should say that I'm not a student. I'm a researcher, a professor. I just came teaching students. But he said, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You are a student. I said, okay. Then I quickly asked my wife to bring my passport and bring my document, DS-2019, to prove him that I'm not. Maybe he's still confused. And she brought, and when she brought it, they already handcuffed me and put me or were putting me in this same black unmarked car. And they didn't let my wife give my passport and my DS-2019 form to me, and they took it. And then we moved. I was still in big shock. I was devastated and I knew nothing. I was like numb. And then as they moved, they start talking. I was also asking what is happening, why are you doing this after student visa revoking thing. They said someone very high at the Secretary of State's office doesn't want you here. I said, okay, well, I mean, why would Secretary of State and all this about me? Who am I? And they said, we will deport you. I said, what? This was shock after shock after shock after shock. I mean, deport me? All I could ask in a very insensible way was, when? He said, now, today. As I said, it was shock after shock. Okay, then I was again numb for some time, and then I said, will my family, my wife, won't know where I'm going, what you are doing? And they smile and they say, when we will put you in flight, we will let her know. And then I sat quiet. I said, who these people are? Why? I mean, saying why they are doing this. I was not able to understand what wrong I did. It was a regular day, taught, came back, fasting from long time. A week before, I was extremely ill. I was not able to even walk. I was that ill. Maybe had COVID or something. Then they took me. They told to my wife that they are taking me to Chantilly. Now I was able to understand that Chantilly, deportation, airport, everything is, so they took me to Chantilly, and then dehumanization started. They asked me to remove my shoes. First laces, not the shoes, laces, and then took me inside, and then they finger scanned, this DNA swab, photographs, and all this thing, and then those officers, masked officers, now step aside, and civilian clothed person were now doing all those things, and there they were saying that we know you are not. I said, what is happening? Then he said that no, we are not. You are not going anywhere, and. We know you are not a criminal. We know everything about you. It's just a crazy time. They kept on those lines that it's a crazy time and you will get your justice and all this and that. Then I was good. I said, but that guy was saying that they are deporting me. He said, no, they know nothing. Then he showed me some paper which he generated from the computer that you have a court in Texas in May. I said, why in May and why in Texas? He said, it's just computer. I had a relief that time that, okay, they are not deporting, and this guy is saying that I have a court and I'm not a criminal and justice will prevail and I'll be back to my family. I said, okay. And then he said that this is just computer generated, and And now the next shock was that now we will take you to 3 hours drive from here to somewhere, Farmville in Virginia. I said, why 3 hours? Why not here? It's a night. We don't have a place for you. We don't have a bed. It's just computer generated. And maybe after some days, you will be back to your family for sure. I was happy with that. The good thing he did was he allowed me to talk to my wife, and I said that, hey, I mean, something bad happened, but now they are saying that I have a court and they are taking me for this night to Farmville, and then I will return soon. I told her everything. And then more chains come. This time they put they put the shackles back, and now my waist had chains. Not leg this time, until now. Then they took me to this place in Farmville, and I'm claustrophobic. They put me in a very small car, and for the first time in my life, I was now shackled and chained and was in a very small car, and I don't know what was happening and why was it happening. So, but we moved. It was a very tough journey. And then we reached Farmville, and then another shock. The moment we entered inside, there were like cells. There were people like in chains, and now, they just put me in a cell by myself. And sorry you guys are eating, but I had to use bathroom, and there was a camera over me. I had only seen these things in movies, and it was happening to me for the first time. You have to undress and use that bathroom under that camera. I had to do it. I did it. And then next thing was I had to sleep on floor and without a blanket for sure. And I was telling them that it was like 3 a.m. now. I was telling them that I am fasting and I need a pre-sunset meal around 5:30 or something. But that meal never came, and I kept on asking, and they never give me anything. The nurse there, she did a TB test to me, and she said that, oh, you will be fine now. You will not be in this cell. I said, they put me in a cell. I'm on floor. They said, you will be going to a dorm, and things will be fine. But then they again came around 6, 7 a.m. and took me to another place. And yes, here in Farmville, earlier I was told that when I will reach there, I will be allowed to talk to my wife, that I am here now. But they didn't hear anything. They didn't let me do anything. They didn't answer what I was asking them. It was as if I'm a dead man and only my soul was there, and I was seeing them, and they cannot see anything. Then they took me again to some other place. Now this time they put my ankle shackles also on me. So third thing came, chains, this wrist shackles and chains on waist and ankle shackles, and those shoes slipping out of your feet without laces, and they were just pushing you, put you in some car with many people like you, and then I was, I think, somewhere in Richmond. And there they put me in a small cell all by myself. It was very cold. There was not even a space to lay down there. And they didn't remove my chains from the shackles from my ankles. And I sat there hungry. And then again, they came around 1 maybe. And they say, let's move. I asked them that I need to talk to my wife, and I need to tell them that I'm fine, I'm here, and something. They didn't reply. And then I asked them again that where am I going? They would not reply again. They said, we are not supposed to tell you. Then just put us in a car, and then again, it was an hour-long drive. They stopped to some places, and then all of a sudden I saw myself in this car on a tarmac where a big plane was parked, and my car was there. So I realized, okay, they were all lying. It is against, they are deporting me, right? That's why they are not telling everything, letting my wife know anything.
You thought they were sending you back to India.
Yeah. Because that's they just moved me from my home, they said that we are deporting you today. And the other officer, civilian officer, said that no, there is this court thing. But he also said that when I asked them that why in May, he said that it can be preponed. So he realized that they can prepone anything, do anything, because they were lying. They were not letting me talk to my family. I even didn't know if I have attorney or anything. Right. So now I was on the stomach, and like around 3 or 4, they put us in this plane, and another shock was that it was a big plane, and everyone was in same condition like me. Chained, shackled, that's it. And the first thing I asked them was, I need to use a bathroom. So they said, later we'll let you know. And when they let me know, and they took me there, I was waiting for some time to unlock me. They say, you have to use it like this. Use it or do whatever you want to do, or better do it in your trousers. We will not open anything. And even the door won't close. And there was no tissue, no water. They were having sanitizer. That's it. That was the only favor they were doing. So we were totally dehumanized. They were treating as if we were animals or something. Then this plane moved. We didn't know where it was going. I thought that it was going like maybe for India, or maybe not India, somewhere, because there were other people as well, but certainly for some deportation. There were all Hispanic people around me, so they didn't know English, but I was not able to talk to them. Someone said that maybe we are going to Louisiana, but authorities never told anything. Then we landed in Louisiana around evening. We landed, and then I read that it was some Alexandria staging facility, Louisiana. And right at the airport, maybe 50 meters from this tarmac again, we were housed in this big hall where we sat for hours with those chains and everything. People were saying, we need to go to bathroom, please. They said, no, wait. Someone said that I'll do it here. They said, no problem, then you will wash everything. But they will not let anyone go. Around night, they unlocked us, and while doing this, they didn't know. I was naive, and when they were doing it, first they spread my leg. I didn't know. I did so that they can open. And next thing, he thought that I had to put my foot up, but I didn't know anything. So that guy punched my back of my knee. My ligaments pain till today, maybe because of that or because of acute malnutrition, which I will go through later. I limp when I walk. So, yeah, then at night they put us in this kind of cells where we were locked, and I didn't get food. I told that I was fasting. I didn't have anything in the breakfast. I need something. They say, okay, we will do something. They brought it at around midnight. But I accepted whatever. At least I got it at midnight. I don't know. I was because in extreme tension. At least I drank water. That was enough for me that time. So yeah, then we were there for 3 days. I was not able to talk to my wife all that time. There was a phone there where you can talk, but you need an ID there, which they will not give me. That I will get that ID ultimately when I reach after 5 days to Texas. So I was not able to talk to my wife, but there was an option of free call for 20 seconds. I was calling my wife again and again, and I was able to hear her, but later she told me she never heard my voice. So it was extremely frustrating. I thought, what's happening with her? Why is she not talking to me? Who she is with? I thought maybe they have taken her and my kids as well. So then that uncertainty prevailed. I saw people coming from Guantanamo there, and they were regular migrants and coming from Guantanamo. I was going in deep shock and fear that, and they said that we are regular and they keep on changing and maybe you will also go there. So that was extremely frustrated. That was extremely terrifying. Somehow I passed the days. One of the day, maybe on third day, an attorney called me. I didn't know him that time, and I was scared. I'm talking to? And later, I realized that he was my attorney, and he is my attorney, Hassan Ahmed. And till that time, even they didn't know what will happen. They moved to the courts for sure, but nothing had happened till that time. Then after 3 days, on 20th, they moved me from Louisiana on 21st. But on 20th night, 2 guys came from some other detention center, and they were going to New York. And then a lady came and told me that you two and me are going to New York. Then we realized that those people told me that they are going to New York and from there to their home, which authorities have told them. So I again realized that, okay, it's the same deportation thing. They are sending me to India now finally. And because we were at the super deportation facility, this Alexandria staging facility is right at the airport. The security officer later told me, and as he was shocked to know who am I, and he Googled and all, and he was shocked that why I was there, and he said that this is a super deportation facility. In a week, they have deported like 28 flights from that facility. So now I was thinking I'm going to being deported and going to New York. But next morning, the lady came to me and said, no, you are going to Texas, and only those 2 guys will go to New York. I said, maybe they will do something to me from Texas. Then by noon, a bus came and took me to Texas. Again, I told them that let these people know I'm going to Texas, that I'm fasting because it's around 2 or 3 p.m. We will be reaching there around 8 p.m. It will be around sunset. I would need a meal. They told him, but when we reached there, I was again put in a cell for 6-7 hours, and I kept on asking them whenever I have eye contact with those people, I would do like this, but they will ignore. And the first meal, 2 slices and 2 bread slices and a cheese and an apple, they gave me around midnight. And that place where I was sitting was used as a bathroom. It was stinking, and I asked them that please let me sit out or let me eat out, but they ignored. And like that was a dehumanizing experience that I didn't want to eat, but I was hungry and I had certain gastric issues that if I don't eat at proper time, and I will have gastric pain. So I ate, but I hid down a bit, said that nobody see me, and I don't know why I did that. I ate that thing, and I was there from 8 p.m. and I was there till 3 a.m. And then at 3 a.m. they put me in this pod where I will be for next 7 weeks, I think. And when they put me in that pod, I don't know, first I was seeing that there were different kind of uniforms, and there was yellow, blue, there was orange, and then red. When I was in cell, I liked the red one. I thought I should get this red one. This looks good, because yellow and orange were not good, and blue was, I didn't like it. I got red. So later I would come to know what red means. It is for highest security, most dangerous people. And when they put me again in that red security pod, I was shocked the moment the guard opened the door, and first foot I put in, I put it back, because the inmates start shouting that how many people. It was super overcrowded. I can see at least dozen plus people sleeping on floor. They said, how many people will you bring in? There is no space here, this and that, but they won't care. They just pushed me in. I even said, when they started shouting, I said, please take me some other place, because this regular pod thing was happening for the first time to me after 5 days. Otherwise, I was all by myself. But they pushed me and gone. Then people started asking me, hey, you are in red, what you have done? I said, you all are red. They said, we are felons, we are big criminals. What have you done? You tell your story. I said, no, I'm just a researcher, I'm a teacher. They said, no, man, you are a teacher, you must have raped your students. So I was like extremely broken.
Badar, at one point, did you realize that you were arrested because of Donald Trump's crackdown on students and faculty because of their speech on Gaza, that you were like Mahmoud Khalil and these other students? When did you get clarity that you were caught up in the same story as Mahmoud Khalil and others for exercising your free speech rights? When did that picture become clear to you in this process?
Frankly speaking, I can say never ever. I knew about Mahmoud Khalil's case, and I knew he was a student leader. I knew he was. They were when they arrested him, and I followed the media. I knew that he was a student leader who was organizing protests in Columbia University, and Trump administration before coming, they were just saying that we will take care of those who were protesting and all. So it was just from their playbook. They just took for their domestic performance. They just took Mahmoud Khalil, but I was not able to understand why they took me. Before they took me, they were attacked. Some doxing groups were attacking my wife from a month. And when they realized that she is an American citizen, they were shocked, and maybe they did a little bit of more research, and they were lucky to know that, oh, still we can punish her. She has a husband who is just on a regular visa here. And because the officer who took me, he also told me that Secretary of State and also due to some social media. And I asked him that I'm very inactive on social media. Barely I do something, like in a year I will do four or five times. I was not able to understand why they are doing this to me. And all I was able to understand was that they are taking me for my color, for my religion, and because I'm married to an American citizen of Palestinian origin. It was her Palestinian heritage, for that they were taking me, and for sure I am symbolic to Palestinian rights. I'm a sympathizer to Palestinian inalienable rights. So I'm sympathetic to Palestinian cause, and my wife is an American citizen of Palestinian origin. I'm a person of color, I'm Muslim, so I was able to think that these are the reasons maybe they are doing it. And because they if it was all Kafkaesque by that time, they literally disappeared me, if I can say that. I was not able to talk to my wife. I don't know if I have attorneys and all. My future attorney for sure, he called me once after a third day in Louisiana, and still we talked only for 1 minute, and I didn't know anything till that time that is he my real attorney or what. And I was seeing lies after lies, and I was seeing mockery of rule of law and due process, because I was not able to really understand that they could do this to me in United States of America. I was thinking that I heard only about these things in North Korea or Russia or somewhere in Middle East or in Africa. What was happening now here?
Yeah.
This was really shocking to me.
So how did you spend your time in this ICE detention facility until you were released? What was your daily routine like? I know one of the things that you told me when I went to visit you was that you only had access to fresh air 2 hours every week. So that must have been tough, but could you give us sort of a sense of what your daily routine was like? When did they feed you? How did you spend your time? Some specifics about that would be of value for understanding what happened to you.
So that was really an ordeal in every sense. So first, when they put me in, as I said, it was extremely overcrowded. People were there on floors. So they put me in a TV room where TV was blaring for exactly 21 hours every day. It would be on till 2 a.m. and again 5 a.m. it will be on. Why 5 a.m.? Because they will serve us breakfast at 4 a.m. Someone will come in this dorm and shout, "Chow!" Because everybody was sleeping. They would laugh, and there were some young kids who were doing that job there, and they were excited about awaking these inmates, these dangerous people. So they will just shout at 4 a.m., always before 5 a.m. At 4 a.m., at 4:30 a.m., they will shout "Chow." So breakfast will be like that, and most of the time they will take us like that to dorm. We were like 55 people. That dorm was for some 36 people, and hardly 10 people will go for breakfast because people they go to sleep late. And they will, whatever food they give us there, they give us a small milk as well. So if we want to save it and bring that to our dorm, they will not allow us to bring that milk to our dorm. And sometimes they will give breakfast to us in our dorm, and even lunch or dinner. Most of the time they will give us in our dorm. So food they will bring to the dorm, but if we carry our milk to use it later for some coffee and thing, they will not allow that. And yeah, I was in TV room. I was on floor for 14 days with other inmates, and the food was really scary. There were no, like I'm an Indian. I love spices, but the food was all blonde. It was mashed potatoes, a very small amount of beans or peas or carrot, and mostly something a soya patty. There was never meat. Only on Wednesday lunch they will give a small piece of chicken, and yeah, and they were very calorie conscious. So they will give us white slices, 2 white slices, and extremely sugary a cake piece, which was in order to have a very rich carbohydrate diet so that everybody can maintain weight. And by the way, in these 7 weeks or 8 weeks, like I was in this for 59 days, I lost around I was 81 kg. When they took me, I used to check my weight every day. And when I came back and I checked my weight after 3-4 days, I was 73. So I lost around 8 kg, which is around 15-16 pounds. Why so? Because I was not, I realized after when I was eating this thing that something is not good in my body. And so I asked them to check my blood and all after a month. And when they checked it, because they were also giving us processed food. So my cholesterol was 273. My triglycerides were 490. My uric acid, because my bones were paining, my uric acid was 7.5, and my vitamin D was 20. So I was in extremely bad condition, and because of that, then I stopped eating carbs, and I asked them for a heart-healthy diet. So they gave me heart-healthy diet, which was, in place of white slices, they would give us same food with brown slices. So it was really mockery of everything. And then, for sure, we will not go out 2 hours in a week, and food will be any time. The dinner they will give at around 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. And they won't care how your health is deteriorating. If you have anything to do with your teeth, they will not check you before 6 months. By this detention center's laws that in order to check your teeth, you need to be there for 6 months. I had seen many people there whose tooth was really moving. They have pus and everything, and they won't do anything. Once they took one poor guy, one Iraqi guy, they booked an appointment for them to Dallas. They would never have a doctor there. They booked for him an appointment in Dallas, say April 15th. When he reached there, they said, "Oh, you came an year early. Your appointment is on April 15, 2026, but it is 2025." And they brought this man back, and they didn't think to take an emergency appointment or something. He came with this moving tooth, his molar tooth back, and there were many like that. There were people who were not able to see. Their eyesight was going bad. The food, my nails didn't grow. I used to trim. I remember being a Muslim, we have to do a special prayer on Friday, so I will always trim my nails on Friday. In all these 2 months, I trimmed my nails 2 times, so 1 month. So it was an extreme malnutrition by everything. That's the reason my ligaments are in very bad condition, and I told about certain blood tests we did. Yeah, and people were on their own if they are suffering. People were on their own if they are having a fist fight inside. People were on their own if they are doing whatever they were doing.
Who were the other inmates? Could you tell us a bit about who these other people were in the same detention facility? What were their stories like?
So first, as they were read, they should be dangerous people, but I didn't find any of them dangerous because they had their punishment in county jails, and this was, again, a deportation site. So they were all there to be either released on bond or win their case or deported ultimately. So they were mostly Hispanics, but also Asians, also Africans, And yeah, so these people, some of them were in jail for 10 years, but some of them were there just for a mere crossing a red light, or for not paying for a ticket, or for small things, very small things. There were two 18-year-old boys there who they just arrested or them the moment they turned 18, because they had they were someday driving a car when they were not 18. So these people, I mean, most of them, maybe all of them, were somehow part of this American society. As they were men, so all of them were married to American citizens. All of them had many children, all born here. And all of them were working hard, paying taxes, doing everything. And now their families are standing in queues for food stamps. So, these were those people. I mean, some people say from Southeast Asia. There was a guy from Southeast Asia. There were many. His family came to United States when he was like 5-6 years old, and he was not born in Laos. His family was fighting with American. They were supporting American army and fighting along with American army in Vietnam War. And because of that, American administration gave them asylum. So this guy, he came here as a dreamer, 5-6 years old, had the first generation issue, had some problem at his school. He went to jail for 1 or 2 years when he was 17 or something. But after that, he was all clean for 23 years. He was 43 years old now. And then all of a sudden, he was taken by ICE for something he already, I mean, he went to jail for that, and he took his punishment. And that thing happened 23 years back. And they put him for deportation there. And ultimately, he was deported to Laos, a country he has never seen, a country against which his father and his grandfather fought along with Americans. And there were many like there were Vietnamese, and always I listen, some Africans would say, they will sit sad and they will say, and there was a guy from DC, there were a guy from Vermont, and they were here from, they also came, I mean, this guy from DC, he was from Liberia, he came when his father was killed, and they were given asylum there. And they would sit and say that you will see that everyone is either released or given a bond, but we, the blacks, are always deported. So these kind of things were happening there.
So one of the things you told me, I want you to tell the audience, because I think it's an interesting part of your experience, is that on regular times throughout your stay in the ICE detention facility, the ICE agents would come in and announce, anybody want to self-deport? We can facilitate that immediately. Just raise your hand. Could you go into the details?
So every week, every kind of racial group will have, or a regional group will have different ICE officers. So there were like 10. So some day in a week, like every week, they will all come, all of them, as if they were making important announcement. But otherwise, if concerned person will keep on asking them anything, try to meet them, try to know what's happening in their case, they will never respond. But on these specific thing, what they want to do is that they will come and announce that anyone who, and they will disgracefully say this, anyone who want to give away their legal rights and want to go home early, want to self-deport, please sign here and you will go tomorrow. And we literally see Hispanics will sign, and same night or next day, they were gone. So they will regularly come like this. And they were, but on the other hand, there was a guy from Ghana who was there from waiting for to go his home from 6 months. And he will say, I want to pay my ticket. I want to go home. When will I go home? Was never allowed. I came here and he was still there. And he said he was there from 6 months. And this is also a tale of extreme corruption. This is also a tale of jail industrial complex, where journalists should also look into companies like LaSalle and other, who just owns across America many facilities, these billion-dollar facilities, which just grab people, kidnap people from the street, who are integral part of American society, being their wives and their husband and their children being American citizens. They will grab them, they will keep them for many days. They will not let some of them want to go home. and they will not let them go home because they are making money on every bed, on every floor space, every day. They say $300 maybe every day. I heard when I was there on CNN that government administration was saying that they put $17,000 per deportation, and to get rid of this, they are giving $1,000 to those who want to self-deport. So it's extremely corrupt system as well, which is playing. Yeah.
So I want to give you a chance to respond to the accusations that the Trump administration has made against you, claiming that you're a threat to American foreign policy. They've said that the official reason why you have to be deported is because you're guilty of spreading pro-Hamas propaganda and anti-Semitism, and thus you're a threat to American foreign policy. Do you want to respond to those charges?
Yeah, why not? So I totally reject these allegations. These are nothing because we were in court, the administration and me, and in the court, the honorable judge kept on asking that whatever you are talking in social media, please come and bring some evidence here. And they were not able to bring anything. Honorable judge gave them an extra day again to bring something, and they were not able to bring anything. So I totally reject these claims. There was nothing. There was nothing at all. And in fact, I will tell you one more thing what I was doing, even when I got a chance. What I used to do with my students here was, mostly I will talk about Gandhi to my students. And because of Gandhi's role on non-violence, because of Gandhi's role on forgiveness, because of Gandhi's role in South Asia during those mad times of 1947 partition when millions were killed. So whenever I get people will find me, because I was scared initially, and so they will ask me, like, when they will talk to me, they will say, hey, are you some kind of philosopher? I say, no, just I'm a teacher, and that's it. That's why I sound like boring. They say, no, you sound like some philosopher. I mean, you are from India. You sound like Gandhi. A guy from DC told me this. I said, no, I mean, yeah, but I'm extremely proud that you feel that vibe from me. And for sure, I celebrate Gandhi by every mean. And because Gandhi is what the world needs, I equate them. I'm not extracting blasphemy, but I equate Gandhi to modern day prophets. And he was there in that space and time, but he's forever for his role on this philosophy of nonviolence and philosophy of forgiveness. So I would, when I get a chance, I would always teach, because those people, some of them, when they were young, were part of gang violence, used to use guns, and now were suffering. So I will tell them that, and I saw some of them had extreme anger issues because of the place they were living and the life they lived. So I would always say them, try to have a control on you, try to learn about forgiveness, try to be minimalist, try to know about non-violence, and we will keep on talking about Gandhian ideology there all the time.
Right. Okay. So let's start wrapping it up. I want to turn to the audience to ask some questions. But given the trauma that you have gone through, you must be living in fear of, what could come next, because you're living one day in a country where you thought the rule of law existed, you're living by the rules, and all of a sudden you're disappeared and you find yourself in an ICE detention facility in Texas. So could you talk about the fears you're feeling today?
Yeah, I would be lying if I say that I don't feel the fear and I'm extremely courageous and everybody be courageous. I'm a human, like every human, and I am father of 3 kids. I have a wife, and I'm a, kind of researcher of this majoritarianism, authoritarianism of minority rights, and I know how minority suffer everywhere, be it Jewish minority, be it Muslims, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, or racism of different kind. But I know how people suffer. So this fear, and after, I still believe that this country has rule of law. It was taken from me for some time, and because of that rule of law, because of that due process which exists, I was brought back to my community, my people, Most of the Americans stood by me, and they were shocked to know about this ordeal, about this Kafkaesque ordeal I passed through. So there are fear, but still I will never bog down. I will always say that be courageous. I will do every part of mine to show my character and strength, and that is the reason I'm speaking on every occasion, whoever want to hear from me. And I'll keep on doing that. And one has to be, and when you are in academia, you have certain moral obligations as well. When you're teaching your student, you need to tell that they have to take certain stand for the betterment of society. And for me, my torchbearer, my role model is always Gandhi. So always I ask my student in every way to learn from Gandhi, because Gandhi is the hope. And yeah, there is fear. Every time now I step out, I feel scared. I think that when the government lied and kidnapped me at the dead of the night without due process, and were almost deporting me on March the 20th, and they were not able to do so, which I realized when I reached Texas. And for the first time I was able to talk to my lawyers was because a judge put a restraining order that they cannot deport me until I get my case in court, and courts will decide. So yeah, there is fear, but we still have, in these tough times, moral obligations to talk about what we should do to guide our students, to guide our children. I want this world to be a better place for Gen Z and for my children, for every children. I see in my children every child, and I don't want kids to go through what they went through during Holocaust, or what they are going through during this genocide in Gaza.
Okay. Last question that I think everyone wants to know is what comes next for you legally, because the Trump administration is still trying to deport you. There's still a long legal battle that lies ahead. And to answer that last question, I want to turn the mic over to one of your lawyers who is here tonight, Hassan Ahmed. Please give it up to Hassan, because he's responsible for this man's freedom.
Good evening, everyone. As Dr. Hashmi said, my name is Hassan Ahmed. I'm one of Badar's many attorneys, one on many team. It definitely is a team effort. I was able to speak with him that 2 nights or 3 nights after he was taken. And I think it's interesting that I was given the only reason I was able to speak with him was because I was able to get the cell phone number of the New Orleans ICE field office director, who put me through and was able to get an officer at the Alexandria Station facility to call me back. And that's the only way I was able to reach. If I hadn't had that connection, it wouldn't have been possible. It wasn't confidential. It wasn't a private attorney line. I couldn't be assured of any confidentiality. So we just spoke in Urdu. That was the best we could do.
He's the one who knows what fear is in my head that time.
Because that was just a short time after. But look, we are thrilled that Dr. Suri is out of jail, is no longer incarcerated. I had gone down to Texas myself for his initial immigration court hearing on May the 6th. I came a few days before and got to meet him for the first time the Saturday before his hearing. His legal battles are just getting started. There is a long, long way to go. But at least he gets to fight it outside of a jail cell. Many people, many of whom he referenced, his co-inmates, don't get that opportunity because of the way the system works. It's designed to snatch you up, break your spirit, kill your spirit, until you're just ready to just say, all right, fine, just get me the hell out of here. And that is the way I've been seeing it. I've been practicing immigration law for more than 20 years, and it hasn't changed. In fact, it's gotten worse. And companies like LaSalle Corrections, or Geo Group or Core Civic make billions of dollars trading in trafficking, I should say, in human beings. And it needs to stop. His court case, there's an ongoing series of applications that we have in federal court in the Eastern District of Virginia, but his immigration court case is ongoing. We were able to successfully get it moved out of Texas, and it is now in the Annandale, Virginia Immigration Court, which has jurisdiction over where he lives. But make no mistake, the state of the law on this foreign policy ground is horrible. At this stage, judges, immigration judges, have almost no authority to second guess the findings of the Secretary of State. So Marco Rubio could chat GPT a letter and say that, well, and no judge would be able to say, hey, show your math. Nobody would be able to say anything, as long as it's facially reasonable. And it took us a long time, but we did finally get the Rubio determination, or so-called determination, as we call it. It references 3 exhibit tabs. The government has yet to provide those exhibit tabs to us. It's just sort of the preface of the determination, and that's the only thing that's been given to us. In court, we demanded to show the arrest warrant for Dr. Suri, which, by the way, was never shown to him, and still to this day has not been shown to any one of his attorneys. We also asked for proof that the so-called Rubio determination was issued in compliance with the law itself. Immigration Nationality Act, Section 237A4C, specifically says that if a determination is made to remove a foreign national based on a foreign policy ground, and it's made on a basis that would be constitutionally protected conduct, in this case, free speech or freedom of association, okay? Those are constitutionally protected activities. Then not only does the determination have to be facially reasonable, but you also have to notify the heads of 4 different congressional committees, okay? 2 on the Senate side and 2 on the House side. And then the reason that the Secretary of State gives goes from being reasonable, it must be now compelling. So we asked for proof that those notifications were made. To date, nothing has been provided. Nothing. And that's been the case in many of the similar cases, like Mahmoud Khalil and Rumeysa Ozturk. We have been pushing, both from a legal standpoint, from using the courts, and also using our contacts in Congress, pushing legislatively to try to get some transparency. But as Dr. Suri said, when it came time to file the evidence that they say they had in court, they came up with nothing. They had nothing. Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. From here, it's going to go out, and there's going to be a contested removability hearing. We expect to have to appeal that, and even if we do win at the contested removability hearing, the government is going to appeal that. So this case and the case of Mahmoud Khalil and Rumeysa Ozturk and Liqa and everybody else is going to be headed up for appellate review. There's going to be a long way to go. There's still a long way to go. But I want to say that I'm extremely proud of my client, Dr. Suri. He is a living embodiment of the principles of Gandhi. He walks the walk, he doesn't just talk the talk. And it's something that he told me that I'll never forget on that Saturday that I first met him in the detention center in Alvarado, Texas. I'm translating, but he said, I was who they wanted me to be. I kept my head down, I had my nose in my books. But after they've done this to me, Why should I be silent?
So we have time for a few questions, and we're going to wrap it up. In terms of the media, I just want the media to know that there's not going to be one-on-one media interviews afterwards. You have to contact the ACLU Virginia if you want to set up an interview with Badar Khan Suri. But since this is a public event, we can take a few questions, and then we'll wrap it up. So the floor is open. Yeah. Oh, Nigar has her hand up. Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you
Yeah,
keep
right
your
there.
hand? There we
Right
go.
there, yeah.
Hi, thank you so much, and it's good to hear from you. I think you kind of answered my question at the end, but I wanted to ask if you think this would have, and the similar cases, and also the winning, at least partially in the court, will have more of an encouraging impact for other people who are active or outspoken, because the arrest definitely had a chilling effect on free speech, on activism on campuses and everything. But do you think these small wins will have a reversal or at least sort of balance that impact? And thank you again for being here.
So the thing is that civil society is extremely important. And courts also look at the society, what society demands. And if civil society really knows what's happening, people know what's happening, and they know due process, they know their freedom of speech, and those things are targeted. And it is for their own thing that they want to keep a constitutional democracy, or they want to let it sink towards autocracy. It's on people to decide. People like me will do all my bit, will say whatever happened to me, will always stand with the marginalized, and if it helps American society, I'm extremely proud of that.
Do you ever, right here?
I mean, I would say something here that, see, I come from land of Mahatma Gandhi, and Mahatma Gandhi belongs to everyone. He was preaching only love and forgiveness to people. He was shot dead. Your own Martin Luther King was preaching civil liberties and everything, and he was shot dead. Ultimately, if even they will kill me, I'm ready for doing that as well. But I'll be on this good track. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I had a question for the lawyer. So you had mentioned you've seen for 20 years people going through these prison systems. So I'm curious to know how different or unprecedented is the situation we're seeing now? Have we seen in the previous Trump administration or any other administration any sort of similar cases to this? We're just sort of randomly snatching off people for their perceived threat to foreign policy or whatever.
So this foreign policy ground, this section 237A4C, and this en masse use of it is new. And in the past, part of the difficulty that we have as lawyers even to deal with this issue is that there's no precedent. There's one case from the Board of Immigration Appeals from 1999 that we can rely on, and that's what I was telling you, where the state of the law is as bad as it is. That's the case that actually comes from, which itself grew out of a case that was decided by none other than Marianne Trump, President Trump's sister, in 1996, out of the Third Circuit decision. There are a lot of buttons to press and a lot of levers to pull in order to transform our immigration machine into our immigration law into a deportation machine. And what I've noticed this time is, whereas before it was sort of like just bringing a sledgehammer and just, breaking down everything in Trump 1.0, this time they brought a scalpel. They knew exactly where to push. They knew exactly where to pull. And it feels a lot more surgical this time. And as a due process enthusiast, it scares me and concerns me a great deal what we're seeing this time around.
Okay, we have a question back here.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Behind you.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Sanjeev.
Thanks, Nader. For Mr. Suri and the attorney, thank you both so much for sharing your wisdom. My question is, what would you like to see all of us doing right now? The people in this room, the networks we're a part of, both with regards to your case, other people facing the same situation, and then more broadly, what do you want us to be doing?
Hassan, you want to take that first, and then we'll get Badar to weigh in?
Be loud, in a word. I think our elected officials need to understand that there's a cost to supporting or even remaining silent in the face of these policies. This administration has been pushing the envelope to try to see what they can get away with. And the more silent you are, the more they're going to take. I've spent 20 years, much of my practice is in removal defense and filing asylum cases. Well documented how people have to run from tyranny, how people have to run from authoritarianism. And there's one thing you realize, whether you're talking about Bukele in El Salvador, or you were talking about Bashar al-Assad in Syria, or you're even talking about Narendra Modi in Egypt, in India, they all have the same playbook. And tyranny looks the same everywhere. And when I start to see things here that remind me of things I had to document from cases from my asylum-seeking clients, that's something that we need to make sure doesn't happen. And it happens quicker than you would think. And that makes it a collective obligation on those of us. Dr. Suri is still here on a visa. He's in deportation proceedings, but yet he speaks. What excuse do you and I have?
Thank you.
I would say a small thing, that anarchy is what states make out of it. Similarly, societies are what people make out of it. So build your society.
Let's take two more questions, and then we'll start to wrap it up. Yeah, sorry, there's a question right here. Go ahead. Yeah.
You mentioned a guard punched you on your knee. Did they regularly get physical with people?
I don't know. This happened once to me. So I don't know. Didn't do it regularly. Normally they come with pepper spray. They normally pepper spray people because there was a solitary confinement pod in front of our pod. So regularly they will all run and bring someone with pepper spray on them.
Last question. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suri. You've spoken about a lot of dark experiences that you had in detention. So I wonder if you could speak about any positive, not positive, but any hopeful experiences or interactions that you had in detention. Thank you.
So kind of I live a dialectical life all the time. If there is a suffering, I always see something happiness. This is how we have to live. And there also, I was doing everything. If there was someone who was there was this guy, Adam, he used to build houses. So when he will make his map, I will make my map, that this is like Indian style of apartment, you can do it. There was this guy called John, he said that he was 500 pounds when he was like raising voice and his wife, and he was fighting, and suddenly his daughter called police, and then his daughter said, "Hey, Baba, run away. I called police and they will come and take you." So they took him and he lost 300 pounds, he said, in 1 month in county jail. But I still said that don't eat sugar, try to control your weight. And once I saw him, he just had a bite of this sugar-rich cake and he threw it. I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "You told me that not to eat sugar." So I will tell people to have better. So what I would also do, that mostly people were not English speakers. And and some of them didn't know their rights. So there was some kind of a small clinic there. In that we can request certain medicines. So I would teach them that, say that I have pain here, do this blood test of mine, I need vitamin D test, I need this multivitamin, because they were shocked to see that how I was able to get it. So I would regularly write for them that I have this myopia, this and that. I was even literally for at least 3-4 people, I was writing their letter to their judges about their cases, because they were not having any attorney. So I was writing letters for them. I was living my life there. Not living, but I was doing whatever I can do. And I was able to help everyone there by every means possible. Yeah.
Okay. So please give it up for Badar Khan Suri. Go ahead. So let me thank everyone for coming. Let me thank especially, of course, Badar Khan for coming under this very, difficult time for you and your family, given that you're still facing deportation, hearings. Your courage is inspiring to all of us. So thank you for being here and for answering these questions. I want to thank also the great people at Busboys and Poets, especially the great Andy Shalal, who wants to say some final words.
Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Dr. Suri. Thank you, Hassan. Thank you, Nada. I wanted to ask just two simple questions really quick, and I don't know if they've been answered already, but all of these are individual cases. They're very similar, right? You have Mahmoud Khalil, you have Rameza Öztürk, you have Dr. Suri, of course. Are you guys combining efforts together to try to create some kind of class action thing going on?
Well, I wouldn't call it a class action, but we are absolutely all in touch with each other. We're all sharing resources. We're all sharing research and doing what we can to save our resources, save our bandwidth, so that we can put our minds where it's best used. So yes, we are definitely sharing.
Is it the same legal arguments in all of them?
Similar.
Very similar.
Similar, yeah. There are certain differences because of location. So Mahmoud Khalil, for example, is in his case is in Louisiana, which is located in the Fifth Circuit, and we're trying different things. So we're trying different things, and each decision that comes out, and so far they've all been mostly positive, gives us a little bit more momentum. But like I said, the state of the law is so bad on this issue of, and the burden of proof for the government is, well, there is no burden of proof for the government, really. That's really what it comes down to. So we have a long way to go. What has to change is the law itself, and that's why we need everyone to make as much noise as possible.
And the other part I wanted to ask you is about, and maybe this is for you, Nader, is the weaponization of anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism has become a dog whistle for white supremacy. And oftentimes, like for instance, the attack that happened in Boulder, Colorado with the Molotov cocktails, the president, he never mentioned the word Jewish. So he only said this is an anti-Semitic thing. And of course, a lot of his people really don't like Jews. I mean, let's be real. They're truly anti-Semitic. But anti-Semitic is being used as a weapon to say this is to promote anti-supremacy, and so using that kind of threshold to be able to do that. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the idea of, sort of getting beyond that?
Well, I mean, the first thing you have to do is you have to forcefully state that all of us condemn all forms of bigotry and racism, including anti-Semitism. Point number one.
But I think if you say anti-Semitism, you're saying anti-white supremacy.
Yeah.
And so I think you have to be careful then
Yeah.
to say, I condemn anti-Semitism. You say, I condemn hatred against Jewish people.
Right.
It's not always anti-Semitism,
Right.
you know?
Generally, anti-Semitism is considered to be anti-Jewish bigotry. Most people understand that. But if they don't, they should.
His people don't.
His people don't. Well, the irony of the Trump administration and Trump himself claiming he's arresting people like Badar Khan and Mahmoud Khalil and clamping down on universities in the name of anti-Semitism is that Trump himself is one of the biggest anti-Semites in the country.
Absolutely.
So if you don't like a behavior and you want to stop it, the first thing you should do is stop promoting it yourself. Right? That's
Well, you have
point
to
number one.
redefine. You have to redefine anti-Semitism and how they're using it, and use it as a weapon against them.
I agree.
Because that's really what needs to happen.
No, I totally agree. And of course, then we have the whole question of how Israel and Netanyahu are deliberately using anti-Semitism to justify this genocide.
Absolutely.
Completely distorting sort of what's going on here and using it as a shield to justify this, grotesque moral obscenity that's ongoing in Gaza, as everyone knows, and is getting worse. So, I think one has to be morally consistent here. One has to point out the hypocrisy and the cynical manipulation of these claims that are being used. to justify these authoritarian policies. And I want to thank you, Andy, once again for giving us an opportunity at this bookstore for having these types of discussions and debates. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
All right, thank you all for being here. Just if we can make sure that we close out with our servers before you exit. We also have an open mic that's happening in the room behind us. So if you guys want to stay for open mic, feel free to join us, okay?
Thank you so much for your story. Heartbreaking. Yeah.